What's up, everybody? It's Josh from Off-Brand Horror, back with another horror movie review. That's right, it's Christmas season, and I'm still doing horror movie reviews because it doesn't have to be Halloween to watch horror. Today's movie is a request from a viewer, and it is 2003's Red Dragon. Red Dragon is a prequel to Silence of the Lambs, not to be confused with Manhunter, which was a disconnected movie that was also based off the Red Dragon book, but it's not a part of the Silence of the Lambs, like, actual thing, I don't think. Also not to be confused with the prequel to Red Dragon, Hannibal Rising, I think that one's called. Not to be confused with that one, and then not to be confused with the sequel to Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal. They're all over the place, right? And you need to know the exact order or you're going to be sitting. No, you don't need to know. Go watch Red Dragon if you haven't seen it. You don't need to know anything really about any of the other ones, and it'll be fine. But I will tell you right off the bat, this review, this little talk we're going to have here, this discussion is going to have spoilers. Okay, galore, a bunch of spoilers. So if you don't want anything spoiled, pause this, like it so you can go watch it later, right? That's how we'll get them to like the video. So like it and then go watch Red Dragon and come back and watch this later. But there's quite a few things we need to talk about when it comes to Red Dragon. Number one, why'd that blind lady grab those tiger balls? Oh, maybe you haven't seen the movie and you're like, well, I'm just gonna watch the review anyway, it'll be fine, and you're really confused right now. Why'd that blind lady grab those tiger balls? And I know you're thinking, well, Josh, there's probably some context to what you're saying, right? What you're saying doesn't make sense. Here's what it is. So Red Dragon is just a little love story, right? It's a romance. It's a romance about a serial killer and a blind lady, right? And they fall in love with each other. And that's the whole movie, right? And the blind lady mentions that she likes animals and like cougars or something. And so the serial killer, she doesn't know he's a serial killer, right? And he's Red Dragon. He's what the movie's really based around. Hannibal the cannibal, slurping on animals is obviously a part of it, right? But he's arrested at the beginning of the movie by Edward Norton. So the serial killer, Red Dragon or the Tooth Fairy, he goes by both names, right? He falls in love with this blind lady because he's got this thing with his lip, right? And people make fun of his lip, I guess, and look at him different, which maybe you do if you're a kid, you know, and you see anyone with that looks a little different than you, you know, and you're just, Mommy, why doesn't he have legs? No normal adult should freaking look twice at this guy. He doesn't look bad. He's got a thing on his lip, like, who cares? But he was like bullied by his grandma or something growing up, and then like obviously people look at him differently, and he doesn't like that. But this lady's blind, and so she's fallen for him for just being him, right? And he's liking that because she can't judge him by the way his lip looks, right? Anyway, first date. I don't want to tell you everything that happens, but first date, he brings her to touch a tiger. She goes in and she's blind. She can't see. Her eyes aren't closed, but you know, it's for me to experience what she experienced. I'm closing the eyes and she's touching the tiger, right? She's touching the tiger. And then for some reason she does a little reach around and she seeks out these tiger balls. It wasn't an accident. She didn't go, oop. It was no oops. It was, well, this is a tiger. I know how, you know, stuff works. I know how animals are, even if I'm blind. Like, obviously they have balls, and I very much liked it. And she goes over and she just kind of lifts them up and drops them down. You know, oh, there's those tiger balls, and you're waiting for this to come up later in the movie, right? Like, oh, it's all gonna come back to when she groped that tiger somehow, and it doesn't. It doesn't come up again. The only thing that I can think of that they were trying to say is, was it foreshadowing? Because later she's filling up all on the serial killer's balls, right? Because she does do that later. You know, he's very, oh my God, I can't believe this is gonna happen. You know, he talks a little funny. Can't believe this is gonna happen. And, you know, she ends up going down on him. First she reaches over and she touches, and is she thinking of the tiger, you know? I don't know. Is she into bestiality? But maybe it was because like the tiger's dangerous. Maybe that's why he brought her to the tiger, like the killer, the Tooth Fairy. And he's like, you know, if she likes the tiger, even though it's a monster, maybe she can love me. She does more than freaking just like the tiger. She fills the tiger up, and he's like, oh God, yeah, that's gonna be me later. And I don't know, why'd she touch the balls? You tell me. Matter of fact, let's look at some comments on that video. There's got to be a clip on YouTube, right? Wow, the actress who plays Reba is an amazing actress. Yeah, she did really good at filling up that tiger's balls. This comment says the tiger wasn't even sedated, is a fun fact. It was just a trained tiger. Well, she really risked it grabbing its balls then. Finally, someone who comments on it. Probably not a great idea to grab a tiger's balls, sedated or not. Yeah, what's up with that? Someone responds to that comment, says, I think it's some kind of visual to show that she has a beastly darkness in her, like the killer, and maybe that's why she's drawn to him. See, that's kind of what I was getting at a little bit, like, oh, maybe that's what it is. This scene in the book was disgusting. I almost vomited. I'm sorry? Did it get worse? Did she suck the tiger? See, in the book, she touches the tiger's balls. Oh, please. It's a beautiful scene in the movie and a beautiful sequence in the book. The reason he brings her here is because one of her few visual memories is of a cougar she saw as a child. Some people are so freaking sensitive. Dude, stop being childish. She touched the tiger's balls. Not being childish, just hilarious that she touched the I'm sorry. Touched the tiger's balls. Why'd she do it? This person says, I'm childish because I think it's gross that she touched the tiger's balls. Okay. Arguing over tiger's balls. This person says, for the Boo Bird saying Manhunter did it better. That's the other movie that also was based off this book. I call BS. In this film, you sense she's experiencing this animal for the first time. Well, I'll say. And if she's never even been around animals before, there is something almost childlike with the way Emily does it. Like how you see kids at the zoo get up extra close to the glass when everyone else moves away. It has an ethereal quality to it, even if she does sort of violate the tiger. I wonder if they get turned on like humans. What? I wonder if they get turned on like humans. Are you talking about tigers? Do tigers get horny? Yeah. Yeah, that's because that would make a real interesting baby. Kate, what? I got a lot to talk about when it comes to this movie, more than just the tiger balls. So we got to move on from the tiger balls. Let me know what you think about those tiger balls, though. Please let me know what you think about the tiger balls. All right, so I said Red Dragon's a love story. It kind of is, you know, like she's the reason he wants to he wants to stop killing people. He's got like mental issues, obviously, and he thinks that like there's a dragon that's telling him what to do. But let's just read the synopsis from Letterboxd just to give you an idea in case you don't know.
It says former FBI agent Will Graham, who was played by Edward Norton, who was once almost killed by the savage Hannibal the Cannibal Lecter, now has no choice but to face him again, as it seems Lecter is the only one who can help Graham track down a new serial killer.
It was a good movie. I liked it more than the other Hannibal movies I've seen. I haven't seen like the prequel, the whatever it's called. I've seen Silence of the Lambs. I've seen Hannibal. It's just Hannibal. In fact, I did a review of that one recently. If you want to watch that, I'll put the link at the end of this video. And then I have seen this one, which is Red Dragon. This one may be my favorite. It was pretty good. Just some weird stuff. Like, why'd that blind lady grab that tiger's balls, you know? Okay, we need to talk about the scene where Hannibal is like trying to get Edward Norton's address because he wants to murder him, right? He wants to send this new killer to freaking kill him because Edward Norton's the cop that arrested him, and he's like, you know, he's Hannibal. He's trying to get his address, so he ends up, you know, finagling his way to getting a phone, and then he has the phone and he calls this secretary or something, and he's trying to get Edward Norton's address, and the way he talks through this whole interaction was very strange. There's this one specific line that I remember. He says, I'll dance at your wedding if you give it to me.
I'll dance at your wedding if you read it to me.
I'll dance at your wedding if you give it to me. And he goes, come on, just flip it.
Be a darling and flip that little old rascal, and I won't take up any more of your time.
Flip that Rolodex. Come on, sweetheart, just give it a little flip-flop. Come on, touch it like that blind lady. Touch that tiger's balls and just tell me what the address is. I'll dance at your wedding. And the lady just acts like it's normal. She's like, well, yeah, I mean, I'm really not supposed to, but I guess I can, you know. He's like, come on, I don't want to get your boss in trouble. She was supposed to send it to me. It's going to get her in trouble. Love tap that Rolodex and give me his address. I'll dance at your wedding. Is that a thing? Is that a thing? I'll dance at your wedding.
It's right there in that Rolodex or whatever.
It's right there in that Rolodex or whatever. I also like how he says or whatever. I'll dance at your wedding if you give it to me.
I'll dance at your wedding if you read it to me.
I don't know. I'm really not supposed to.
Be a darling and flip that little old rascal, and I won't take up any more of your time.
Be a darling and flip that little low rascal, and I won't take any more of your time. Come on. Just finagle it like that blind lady. Finagle that tiger's balls in that one earlier scene. What happened with that? What was going on? Do you think that tigers can have babies with humans? That'd be kind of cool baby, huh? That's what Homeless Hannah said on the YouTube video. I don't know. Is that a... I don't know. We don't have time. You know, we got to finish this video. Talking about tiger balls and dancing at weddings. Why did that blind lady touch that tiger's balls? I also liked, I like how there's that reporter. There's like a reporter who does like basically TMZ crap. It's what it seems like. Edward Norton hates him from the very beginning, has a past with him. And there's this part where he gets caught doing something, I guess. And it's something that they can like arrest him for. Edward Norton's talking with the other cop and they're like, oh, you know, we could arrest him for this. You know, this is an arrestable offense. He may get like 5 years. And they take a beat and they go, or we could kill him. No, they don't actually say that, but if you think about it, they did. You know what I mean? Because what they do is they're like, or we could feed him information and tell him to write an article based off of all this fake evidence that we give him. And they end up telling him, so that this tooth fairy serial killer likes little boys, right? And the reporter, okay, he likes little boys. He's like, yeah. And he looks up to Hannibal, which is true, but Hannibal thinks he's stupid. Okay, Hannibal thinks he's stupid. Yeah, he thinks he's an amateur idiot. And one time in the 4th grade, this serial killer was caught picking his nose in the corner, and he flicked boogers out. Okay, booger flicker. Interesting. No, but no, he really did, like, you know, they fed false information, all this stuff, basically to piss the killer off and to maybe get him to act out of character, which if you give it even a second of a thought, acting out of character is going to mean going after the reporter that just wrote this fake article about you and said that you're a child molester, which I murder people, but I do not molest children. So that's exactly what happens. Right? The killer ends up seeing the newspaper article. He abducts this reporter, straps him to a chair, and first what he does is he shows off his big muscles, right? He goes and he just starts flexing for him. He takes his shirt off and he's like, he's just completely naked and he's showing off that he's got like this dragon tattooed like on his back all the way down to his buttocks, and he makes the weirdest noises while he's flexing. He's like, here, I'll just show you.
Oh God!
And then he ends up like making him talking to a recorder, and he's like, you know, say everything I'm going to tell you to say, and he makes it seem like he's not even going to kill him if he says it. So the guy says everything. Then he goes and like bites his mouth and murders him and ties him to a wheelchair, sets the wheelchair on fire and pushes him down the highway, right? Insane. When the detectives that set this whole thing up get word of that, in fact, they get that tape sent to them and they're listening to it around a table. All these detectives are listening to this guy get murdered on the tape. The tape stops and they go, well, live and learn. So what's the next? Well, no, seriously, they basically did that. Go watch the movie. They're like, you know, live and learn. So what can we do now? You know, I feel like that may have been a waste of time because I really didn't do anything but murder this reporter randomly. But why did that blind lady grab the tiger's balls? You know, you gotta hand it to Edward Norton for not hulking out. I had to do that joke. I'm sorry. Edward Norton was the Hulk. Okay, he kept his anger in check. That would have been the end of the Tooth Fairy and Hannibal. He would have just hulked out, dude. One interesting part to me was when the killer ends up getting his hands on Edward Norton's son, and he has this freaking mirror to the side of his face, and he's like ready to kill him, and Edward Norton's, you know, walks into the house and finds him like that, and he's like, your son is about to die, and so is your wife, and so are you. Edward Norton recalls this book that he read, basically the diary of this killer, and all the stuff that this killer's grandma would like pick on him, and like the killer had peed his pants when he was younger. He'd peed the bed, and she'd be like, you disgusting freak, and she'd be like, you want me to chop your little penis off? And just like like seriously. And so basically Edward Norton is like, he thinks, well, maybe I can get the killer to let my son go if I start talking to my son bad, because the killer has the mirror, the shard of mirror that he broke, and he's got it up to the kid's face, and the kid pissed his pants. And Edward Norton sees that, and he's like, oh, well, maybe if I talk crap to him, the killer will be like, oh, that's like me as a kid, and like, you know, won't kill my son.
Drop it. Do it now, Gumshoe. You can watch.
Look at you. I've never seen a child as disgusting as you.
Think of this from the son's perspective. A murderer just grabbed you, put a freaking blade to your throat. Your dad walks into the room. Your dad looks you up and down and goes, "You disgusting freak. Did you just piss yourself?"
You pissed your pants? How dare you? You dirty little beast. You want me to cut it off?
I ought to come over there and chop your little penis off, dude. That's disgusting. And he calls him the F word, you know, the slur for gay people. He's like, "You."
Don't quiet me, you little.
And he says that to him, and then he's like, "God, you're just a nasty little bastard, aren't you, you freaking freak, dude? I'm gonna bring that penis over here and let's cut that thing off, dude."
Say it or I will cut it off.
It works. The killer freaking throws the son. He's like, and he almost like wants to protect the little kid, and he pushes him over, and he runs and he attacks Edward Norton, and they have like a whole fight scene, and like he slices his freaking face up and all this crap. And just imagine from the son's perspective, worst day of your life, right? A serial killer caught you, blade to throat. Your dad walked in, called you a homophobic slur, threatened to chop your penis off. And then what if what if your dad died then? Like what if Red Dragon, what if the Tooth Fairy killed Edward Norton and you just never found out like why that happened? Like that was just the final thing that you knew your dad for was that. If you were that little kid, would you even bring that up like to your mom, like ever? Would you be like, you know, there was this time like when dad died, you remember, you know, he called me a homophobic slur and he threatened to chop my penis off and he called me like a little freak and made fun of me for like peeing on myself because I was so scared, because I peed on myself. Dad just kind of cussed me out, and it was almost like the killer protected me from him. The kid would probably never talk about it. He would only just think that for the rest of his life, like, what? I don't even miss dad really. He was why did dad cuss me out? And why did that blind lady grab that tiger's balls? I think Edward Norton lives. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because Hannibal Lecter writes him at the end, and he writes the lyrics to "Scars" by Papa Roach. He's like, I heard you got a screwed up face. I heard you got scars on your face now, but our scars remind us that the past is real. I tear my heart open just to fail.
What a collection of scars you have. Never forget who gave you the best of them, and be grateful. Our scars have the power to remind us that the past was real.
I tear my heart open just to fail.
No, seriously, this movie was created 2003. Scars didn't come out until, what, like 05? 2004, dude, 2 years later. All I'm saying is Papa Roach was watching freaking Red Dragon, and Hannibal was like, our scars remind us that the past is real. And they were like, this bro's spitting, dude. So yeah, Hannibal Lecter wrote Scars by Papa Roach, and I think that's a good way to kind of end my thoughts on this movie. There's a lot more I could talk about, but can't make this too long. All right, so I would give this movie a 3.5 star out of 5-star rating. I enjoyed it. I do think it's the best of the Hannibal ones I've seen. I need to go ahead and finish them out now. I never watched them because honestly, it kind of confused me with the order thing that I kind of made fun of at the beginning. Anyways, we appreciate you watching these reviews. If you've got a movie you want to recommend that I watch and review, go ahead and leave it in a comment there. And yeah, we appreciate you watching. We is me in this case. Catch you next time for another horror movie review. Peace.
I tear my heart open, I sew myself shut. My weakness is that I care too much, and my scars remind me that the past is real.